We have Aubrey Keus. He's the senior engineer and manager at Brave. He loves to read a lot. His Goodreads profile probably has hundreds of books he's already read. He wrote the manifest wallet configuration for Brave over here at Waterloo at the hackathon in 2 days. And he likes to play, I meant to change that to soccer, the real football. That's my bad.
Hi, I'm Aubrey. I'm a programmer. That's how I started. That's how I was hired. I'm doing management now at Brave, which is different than programming, as you'll find as you're progressing. I'm a former Adtech engineer. So I worked in the system that Brave is disrupting. So I did 6 years in the trenches of an engineering firm, or of an Adtech firm in engineering, database architecture, did some management there as well. And I'm going to show you a little bit of the horror story that goes into how tracking currently works on the web. And then you can see for yourself kind of the value proposition and what trade off. So, moving forward. That's me. My DMs are open. If you want to get in contact with me, that's me. That's a river close to where I live. Okay. So this is the ecosystem, or part of the ecosystem, of the companies that work in Adtech that sit between marketer, publisher, and the user. So you have things, let's see, optimization. There are agencies that provide services to brand advertisers. We have ad servers, that's what I work on. I work for an ad server company. We have data suppliers, analytics. These people know everything about the people on the web because they're dropping pixels on every page. And when I say pixel, it's not the rectangular shaped dot on your screen, which is what I thought it was when I originally started, but it is a image tag that's dropped in an advertisement that allows them to track what you're doing because they can track the call to the web server based on that pixel or the image. So that's when I say pixel, that's what I mean. So this is a small demonstration of what currently happens when an advertisement is displayed on the web. I'm not going to go into this in detail. Really, the point of this slide is to see that there are many parties involved. Right? So we have. So this is the demand side provider, demand side platform, advertiser, ad exchange in the middle. So the distance between the visitor and advertiser in terms of the hops of data connections is very wide. This is a representation of that. So this, I won't go into the detail exactly on this, but this is showing what happens when a request is made and people are bidding on this real estate on your screen for an advertisement to show up. So this, at the very beginning of the web, this happened in that process and it's quite slow. And a person bought, something called a takeover ad. So all Yahoo showed one ad for, one day. That was the very beginning of the web. Now, you go to yahoo.com, which I don't know if that means or something now. That ad space is now bid upon by 20 or 30 ad servers saying, what will I bid for this space on your screen? And they can do that because they know a lot about the person who used that browser, because they've been tracking that browser across a wide variety of websites. So this is horrible. This is horrible for a number of reasons. It's horrible because there's an entire ecosystem of people who know more than they should know about us as we're browsing the web. And it doesn't work very well. There's a lot of fraud that goes into it. Brian was talking about the gross numbers of fraud. It's a huge percentage of the actual advertiser spend, so it doesn't work for advertisers, publishers, or users.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you mean by fraud? I mean, who is defrauding here?
All right. Let's talk about fraud. Yeah, this is good. Please ask me questions while I'm doing this. It's easier because you might be thinking of something and don't hold off until the end. So fraud. So I could set up in the old days, I could set up a bot farm to click on every ad from a competitor that I didn't like. And I could make them spend all their money on an advertisement that didn't do anything. That's just one way of doing it. Or I could set myself up as a publisher, and then I could also set myself up as, well, you wouldn't even do that. So I could set myself up as a publisher, and I could wear a bot that would click on my own ads continually, over and over again, and then reap all the money from that. So that's Adtech. And those are the two most common ways. When I was in Adtech, we spent an enormous amount of time combating this, and we also spent an enormous amount of money giving money back to the advertisers because they saw the fraud happening on their end. So, you know, on $100 spent coming in from an advertiser, we would never get $100. That would be discounted every month. So there would be a conversation that would happen with business development or their revenue company saying, you know, well, we thought it was 10% fraud, and they would say, no, we think it's 25% fraud. And, okay, we'll go with 17% this month, but it won't happen again. And next month it happened again. So that's how fraud works.
I have another one following up. The exchanges, or for example, Google, do they have like strategy to fight this fraud themselves, or?
It helps to have probably the largest collection of PhDs in the planet. Yeah, I would imagine, I don't know the details, but yeah, their entire business model is predicated on advertising. So they make 95 or 96% of their, all their revenues based on advertising. So I would say they would probably have the most sophisticated anti-ad fraud system out there. Then Facebook, right? Those are the two. So Google and Facebook control essentially all growth of advertising on the web, and a huge percent of the gross advertising on the web. So in terms of other people, they're going to be a very small percentage compared to those. Okay, anything else from that system? Please yell out if you have a question. All right, so I'm really sorry about being part of the ecosystem, and this is part of my penance that I'm doing. That came out wrong, but ads still largely fund the web. So when you look at the numbers, I don't have them handy, of money exchanging hands, whether it's a subscription or advertising, it is largely funded. So a lot of news sites have gone to a subscription base. So the Trump Star went recently, they went to subscription. You get 5 free articles and then you have to pay. New York Times has been doing this for a long time. Washington Post. The Guardian is not in the UK, but they are, they're very kind of in your face about donations, which is another model. But people aren't going to pay 20 companies their fee every month. So we're providing an opportunity for those organizations to have another way of monetizing, you know, the thing that they do best, which is, you know, provide information on the web. So what is to be done? So we're going to talk about a new model. So this, we're going to talk about some of the technical aspects of the ad system within Brave. Brian talked about this before. One of the ways that you're tracked online is that the ad makes a call out to an ad server, and that call knows a lot of stuff about you because they have cookies that are dropped out of the machine, and those cookies go with the call. So there are databases that then can match that cookie against a model of who they think you are on the server side. With Brave, we dispense with that. So what we do is, on a daily basis, the Brave browser will retrieve a catalog that is the same for everybody in the same geographic area. So if you're in the US or Canada, there's going to be one catalog that is going to be retrieved daily, and that's going to have the entire set of ads that we will possibly display to you during the day. So that call out that was made to track and display an ad in your model won't be part of the map or model. So the ad matching. Google and Facebook will match your ads on the server side. And to do that, they need lots of information on the server side. We don't want to know anything about it on Brave. So we do ad matching only on your device. So based on what you do when you're on your device, your browsing habits, the browser can determine what you might be interested in. None of that information ever goes to Brave, it never leaves your device. Yeah, cool.
So, like ads generally tend to have, say, like images or a GIF or something like that. And as the number of ads in that catalog increases, the amount of data which needs to be transferred will go up in size compared to transferring cookies, for example.
We don't transfer images in the ad catalog.
Okay.
So the initial version of ads there'll be 3 attributes for every ad. There will be a title, description, and a link. You'll see a notification, system notification come up in the top, or depending on the platform, the top right corner, I'm thinking on Mac OS. It'll have the bat logo or the Brave logo, one of the two, easily identifiable. This is a notification that's coming from Brave. Title, description, and then a link where you can click it. If you click on that link, a new tab will open, and at that point, the advertiser will serve a full page ad to you. So there's no image being sent to the browser in the ad network.
Wouldn't advertisers be more interested in browsers that sort of track you so that they know that their ads are sort of giving to people who are more likely to click on them?
Yeah, so the question is, what does the advertiser think of the new model? It is becoming clearer and clearer that knowing things about your customer is a net liability to the business, as opposed to a net positive. And I say that based on a lot of legislation that's happening. Privacy is becoming a front of mind thing, not just for techies who are uncomfortable with people knowing things about them, but for the general populace. So the GDPR in Europe makes some heavy mandates about what a company can know about you and what they have to tell you they know about you, and what they have to be able to do with that information if you request that they no longer know that about you. So there are advantages for the advertiser for not knowing that.
Like, how do these ads work? Like, how would, so like, have a content section, content creator, or someone wants to advertise, and I would want to know, like, which ads working and which ads aren't working.
Very good. Okay. So to do that, so the question is, how does the ad system kind of work? So you're a content creator and you want to drive people to your website. What you would do is you would come into a self-serve platform, which we've developed. I have a screenshot of that coming up. You would do what you would normally do with most other ad platforms. You would define your creative, you would set a campaign, you would say, okay, I'm willing to pay X number of BAT for every click, or X number of BAT for every notification view, or X number of BAT for every time someone landed on the creative page and stayed there for a certain length of time. But there's a self-service platform that allows an individual to set that up. We also will be working with agencies. And with agencies, it's a little different. They will be working with an internal Brave employee to customize large-scale campaigns. But people willing to go through the self-service platform will be able to sign up for that and get started. Yep.
What should we position Brave in the chain that you showed us?
Okay, the chain. Let's see.
What are the basic actually? I'm not working.
That one. Okay.
Exchange or
So, the ad exchange will be done on device. So normally an ad exchange does the matching. That's their primary purpose. So that'll be done on the device. So in some ways we are an ad exchange. Brave is not an ad exchange, your browser is an ad exchange. So let's see. Right here, the DSP, that is the ad catalog. Right? So normally an advertiser would go into a self-service platform and put their advertisement in, and then that will be transferred on a request to the ad exchange. For us, we'll be sending that catalog to the Brave browsers once per day. And then the visitors with a notification. So if a person clicks on a notification on the Brave browser, a signal is sent to our server, but with a proviso that is anonymous. So there is a concept called a blinded token, which is a fairly complex back and forth for how we confirm that action has taken place, whether an ad has been shown or whether an ad has been clicked, excuse me, or if a person has been on the page for longer than some number of seconds. So those notifications. So that's how that will fit. So in effect, we are taking a lot of that entire page on ourselves, as opposed to having 4, 5, 6 organizations do it. Yes? Okay, so to start, we'll be displaying notifications at the page. So it will be a system level notification that you will see. On Android, you'll see it drop down like a regular notification. On Windows and Mac, it'll come in as a system notification as well. In the future, we'll be working with publishers who would like to monetize people that are ad blocking right now. So right now, when you go to Brave and you go to a website, say TMZ, you're going to see lots of white spaces on the page because they are absolutely blocked. Theoretically, you can partner with TMZ and say, you have this, some percentage of your users are ad blocking, and you're not making any money on them. Work with us, and we can monetize a certain portion of those ad blocking customers at higher revenue than you would have got on the traditional model. So I just talked about this. The events that we sent are anonymously sent to the server of use clicks and attention. The BAT token, which Ryan talked about, that's a unit of exchange. The entire ecosystem is denominated in BAT. The point at which it converts from USD or CDN to BAT is outside the BAT ecosystem. That will happen on a website like Uphold, but everything else is in BAT. And a huge difference between us and a lot of other ad platforms is that we're open source. So you can verify the code that we're running. You can see exactly the internals of our brand system, our ad server, those are all verifiable, and our browser, of course. Okay, so this is a campaign flow. An advertiser comes in, there's a self-service ad platform, they develop a campaign, and then that catalog is then sent to the browser. This is showing the flow, what we came up with earlier. Our ERC 20 token, you can look at the source code, you can verify everything that's going on, you can look at the EVM on the Ethereum blockchain if you want to verify that as well. So there are ways that you can go in and see how we're interacting with the blockchain. So this is the rollout strategy for that. Right now, if you were a publisher, so if you have a YouTube site right now, or Twitch, or a website, you can sign up to become a Brave publisher. It's quite easy to do. Then people can then tip you directly from the browser, or they can pay you in attention that is settled every month. Step 1. Step 2 is what we're doing now, which is the active system. So this is earning that for both users and advertisers paying in to the system and then paying out to users and publishers. And the next step is a question earlier about SDK. So we'll be providing an SDK in the future. And like Brian said, Brave is the first consumer of that SDK essentially.
What is that exactly?
So the SDK will allow other applications other than Brave to tie into the back ecosystem and take advantage of all the services that we would provide, but have BAT as their data exchange.
Will it work like mobile ads right now? Or
Pardon me?
will it be working like the mobile ads right now?
Yeah, I'm not sure of the design. So I can see something like a podcast player, where you put that in a wallet and you pay out, it's paid to the people that you listen to. So that would be a use case that I would find really compelling because I listen to a lot of podcasts. So that would be a use case off the top of my head that I could think of that would be perfect fit for an SDK. Other browsers, absolutely. So this isn't limited to Brave. We could make a partnership, or someone could, download the SDK, integrate it into their browser, and have the advantage of typing into the entire database. Okay, so this is the ads admin. So this is a self-service platform that I talked about earlier. You can go in, set up a campaign. I just have a single slide on this. It works almost identically from a user interface perspective to the existing ads ecosystem, so that ad agencies and advertisers feel comfortable coming into the ecosystem and can quickly get up to speed. We use blind tokens to do the confirmations. So we don't know which user clicked on a notification, but with a high degree of certainty, we can say that a person clicked on it and only one person clicked on it for that event. That's very important for combating fraud. We need to verify that a click is represented by a single blind token. There's a lot more information. If you do blind signature on Wikipedia, a search for that, you can get a lot more detail. I talked about this, publishers. So if you're a publisher, YouTube, if you're a YouTuber, vlogger, then go in and sign up. You can get paid for your daily vlog. Referral promo. So this is my last slide. For us to succeed, we need a large ecosystem of people using the browser. So our publishers are capable of setting up a referral promo where if a person clicks on a link provided by someone like Philip DeFranco, he would earn $5 USD in BAT if you stay on the web browser for 30 days. So this is open to all of our publishers. There's an interface they can do it self-service. You don't have to communicate with Brave directly, but you can go in, click on a few buttons, get a link, and then use that link to drive people to download the browser. As I said, we're open source, verifiable. If you go to GitHub/Brave or GitHub/Brave-IATL, which is the international, we'll have all our repositories. And thanks for listening. Are there any questions? Anything we didn't chat about?
Since your code is open source, isn't it easy because you're a new company, right, in basically in pre-existing market? So isn't it easy for people to get your code and make a better version of it? Isn't it risky from a business point of view?
I don't know, Brian. I don't know if risk is the proper word for that. I think there are more benefits than there are downsides to that. So this is my view. So a lot of the best engineers at Brave came in because they did pull requests on GitHub. So it is a way of finding really great engineers that are passionate about what we do. And I think the value of the source code is in verifiability, but for another company to download this and set it up and install, there is an entire organization of 100 people that is managing this process. So it's not a binary you compile and run on a laptop. It's an ecosystem of services of AWS and Heroku and all the different things that we manage. Go.
Could you speak to some of the challenges that you guys have faced along the way, especially so like some of the bigger ones, how you kind of overcame them, what those challenges are as well?
You want to do this together? So challenges. Scaling from, I started at a company with 70, there's 100 people now. That has been a big change. Any organization will go through that. So that's a challenge, but it's an opportunity to grow both personally and as a company, right? There are different systems that need to be put in place to support 100%. The biggest thing right now is growth, right? We're growing, but we have to continue to grow. That's our initial currency at the beginning is continue to grow. The great thing about the way we do the back token sale is that we have this chunk of back tokens that we can incentivize people by using that as a means of getting them into the ecosystem.
There's a lot of websites which are only they're only being served because they have ads. So how do you compensate those people? Are you going to bring them in sometime or?
So there's two ways. Right now they can sign up as a publisher and we can pay them out back right today. So if you go to Philip Franco's YouTube page, right, and you're in the Brave, and you click on the triangle at the top corner, you'll be able to tip them on that. So every month, Philip gets paid out. We're actually running the settlement will be starting on Monday. It takes us a little bit of time, but we'll run that settlement and he'll get paid. So that's how a publisher could get paid in the Brave system. Now, when publisher ads become a thing, they can then sign up to the publisher program, and then the ads that they would normally run, they could run Brave ads directly to the site and they would be paid as well.
And just another one. So how do you guys do the ad matching? When say you go to Facebook, they have their own matching algorithms for how they will match a specific person to a specific ad, which they have in the tool, right? How do you guys go about on the offline? You must have deployed some sort of machine learning model.
Yes, so we have a machine learning group in Brave, and they developed a model which we developed over the last 4 or 5 months. We did a program 3 or 4 months ago that allowed people to opt into an ad system that logged their activity, right? What they were doing. We told them this big warning sign saying, what you click on, where you will see. And we used that as training data for the model, which then we could get feedback data saying, okay, they looked at these URLs, but they saw this ad. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And what was the sample size from the total percentage of?
I don't know. Yeah, small. And there were 150 people, something like that.
The source code too is open source.
Oh yeah.
Brave-Land too.
Yeah.
You guys could also why is it right? To train models. Why is it up from already existing?
Well, we're not changing.
In what situation that user activity with the Brave browser is recorded on the blockchain?
Blockchain. So right now, no user activity is recorded on the blockchain. We don't require you to have a full node on your computer if you're running Brave, because then no one will run Brave. It's very, I think, how big is the complete database now? It's massive. Every time I load up Dirty on my machine, my fans just melt the bottom. because it's trying to sync all of the different blocks. So we talk about the blockchain via Uphold. They're our third-party provider. They provide custody of funds in the wallet, and they also provide verifiability for anti-money laundering and their customer procedures. So they provide all of these services that we require to be regulatory, good citizens, regulatory, and they are the ones who directly talk to the blockchain.
But like a user, sorry, I want to continue this. Like a user, yeah, like a Ethereum user, you don't need to have a full node to interact, yeah. So I mean, you reward in the BAT some user activities. So I guess you do some kind of aggregation, and then you write it to the blockchain. Because in the end, if the user claims the BAT, yeah, in the end that should be stored somewhere in the blockchain, isn't it, on Ethereum?
Right now is that the BAT in the browser, there's a key pair. It lives in the browser and lives on Uphold. So it is not a two-way wallet currently. We're in kind of the process of getting that into a two-way wallet. But again, that is predicated on having Uphold being able to KYC and make another people.
So aggregate locally, yeah, that activity, and then you convey it to this third party, and they take care to put it on the blockchain somehow. Or,
that's correct.
Because I was wondering another issue is scalability, yeah, because Ethereum has this issue of scalability. Let's assume in 1 year you go tenfold in the user base, yeah? So then you have an issue with the scalability of the Ethereum blockchain.
We won't, because they'll be talking about Uphold. So transactions aren't directly written to the blockchain. Now that's not to say that in 2 or 3 years we won't be able to take advantage of Ethereum scaling when it gets past how many transactions per second it can do right now. 15? 15? Okay. Yeah.
And for privacy reasons, not everything should be on the blockchain as well. As an advertiser, I don't want to give away like how much I'm paying for creative to be displayed, for example. There's certain aspects that we don't want on the blockchain as well. And for scalability reasons, it's good that we don't as well right now because Ethereum can handle it right now.
Yeah, just like a note on that, it would be cool to see maybe a light browser or a light node built within the browser. Because that way each person could verify, the amounts and all the transactions as well.
Probably 2019 goal.
Yeah. And then I do have a question. So, if you guys are planning on supporting subscriptions, would you guys use something like EIP 1337, or how else would you do subscriptions on your end?
So you're talking about paying back to get their paywall on your site?
Yeah. So if I want to subscribe to a podcast and pay them every month because I enjoy what they do, how would that work?
Okay, so that's a little bit different than going through a paywall. So there's kind of two different processes. Like listening to a podcast, I view that as a publisher-user interaction. So it's the same as me looking at a web page. So I can see our current attention, the way we measure attention, hanging out in a podcast. In terms of getting access to a premium service online, that would be different. That would be using that from your wallet to then transfer to the publisher, giving you access to a part of the site that you wouldn't normally have access to. So,
okay. Yeah, so I guess on that second part, how would that be paid out?
How would that be
paid out?
Through Uphold right now. So the publisher would have an Uphold account, and that would be transferred between the wallet that exists on the browser and the publisher's wallet that exists on Uphold.
So like, how much more can say like a YouTube content creator make relative to say like how much he was making like, but he was doing this ads way?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to what a person could make with the ads as opposed to contribution. It's dependent on the type of YouTuber.
Yeah, like from the content, like creator's perspective, like he knows that people are going to watch his thing per se, and he's making some sort of money with YouTube, and then you guys come in, and then
Yeah, like the amount we share with publishers is a lot more than they would get otherwise through YouTube, but you have to look at it more like most users are already on the other platform right now. So it's basically all the people that are being ad blocked right now, they're not getting any money whatsoever from them. So it's just additive on top of it, basically, if you look at it as, yeah.
and for like big companies' perspective, like say like Facebook, and you guys are not showing Facebook ads. So like in the future, would you guys like, so they have, like allow them the opportunity to like have some of their own like ad recommendation to go and deploy it offline?
We're okay with the first party ads. So if the server is doing their own ads only from their server, that's fine. That they're using an ad network and third party ads, and that's what we block them. So no, we wouldn't whitelist or people to do
I have 2 more questions. The first one is related to the previous, I put in the first talk about this 300 million that is reward for the user. You said that's enough or so. Should I understand that's the limit of rewarding the users, 300 million? Or?
Yeah, and that's really used for like a bootstrap. Over time, we expect users will want to turn on ads to earn about that way. So it becomes less important at that point where they can just turn on ads because they can earn that way, and then they can then again distribute that to people.
Yeah.
So during the bootstrap phase before we release ads, it's very important to get those publishers because that's the main way that people get that to us.
My next question is a contribution of Brandon Ike to the project. So I guess he was involved in the technical architecture or any like legacy JavaScript knowledge that was embedded in the browser.
Yeah, he's the CEO of the company and co-founder as well, and he's involved right down to the technical details from a high level to strategic sense as well. He knows a lot about the ad space as well, and privacy is very important to him.
Did you have someone else that was helping you to shape the business from like marketing or the business side of things?
Yeah, we have a chief business officer. We have a marketing team as well. There's a bunch of people working under the biz directors as well.
I'm sorry for too many questions. So like you talked about something about kind of anonymizing data before sending it onto the server.
For confirmations, yes, for ad confirmations.
Yeah, so like I'm imagining, like, I mean, I'm not going to that space at all, but they track user activity over time, I'm guessing. So like with this
Other ad networks, we will.
yeah, exactly. So like I'm not like say a user follows a particular pattern and the kind of things, the kind of ads they want to see, or like the kind of activities they do, right?
Yes.
So like would this break down the quality of ads the user is being shown? Because like I'm imagining your index is too big, so like the ads you offer in a particular geographic region. So like when you anonymize everything, I just track like the number of clicks in like the activated clicks and not like them like their activity over time. Like if you anonymize the user or like take a bigger chunk, select this geographic area or something that's what we use it this way. That's what I learned.
So all the magic, again, is done on the browser. So we don't know anything about the user. We don't manage on the server. Brave doesn't have any privileged access to any information. We don't know when to click on something. The browser knows where you browse, right? So the browser knows what you click on. And so it has the browser has a pretty good model of who you are. But we don't want to know anything about who you are. But the browser can then be valuable to match the ads based on your activity within the browser itself.
Did you have a situation when someone hacked the browser guts and steal information that you get?
Well, so if someone hacked a browser, so they would have one person's information, and that person would have bigger problems because their computer's hacked than finding their activity on the browser.
And other browsers would have the same endpoint as well.
But yeah, with hacks, awesome tools, and they're fantastic. So I guess we'll say thank you. Thank you, everyone. Oh, shared slides? Can you show them?
Yeah, sure. You can hear a lot.
We have